तक सकते हो इंग्लिश, बल्कि एक है नकली पराठे नाल कड़ी ते अंडा भी है। चाह नाश्ता हो गया ने तैयार। जो नाश्ता करने हो तो अच्छो, नहीं तो मैं नाश्ता करन लगा ने। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। हाँ जी व्यूअर, आज दिहाड़ा हो गया थर्सडे यानी जुमरात, तो तारीख होगी 5 9वें महीने 5 तारीख। तो बस हम सारा जुलिया पाकिस्तान तो इन्हें में लाने वास्ते जुलिया एयरपोर्ट और फारूक आए जासन गए पाकिस्तान। तो 2 गड्डियाँ जुलियाँ जनाब, क्योंकि समान थोड़ा ज़्यादा सी, एक गड्डी च नहीं चना। 3 बंदे जुले पाकिस्तान, तो अस 2 बंदे जुले इन्हें लाने वास्ते एयरपोर्ट। जा रही हो फिर?
जुलिया जी, अल्लाह खैर करे।
पापा आया, साड़ा पापा आया इंग्लैंड तो। निके था पटकी जैसा।
हाँ ठीक है, रखिए आपको तो मकाइया कमाएगी। खाली सामान नहीं जुलिया वो रहता ना सब भाड़े वेगे
तो सब खाला था आई गए ना। और कोई चीज़ आखिरी 2 निके निके बक्से रह गए। ये पटकी जैसा तो एक चूड़ जी जड़िया बिछड़े बिछड़ी जैसी। हाँ अल्लाह ने वाला है, मैं छोड़ी शाइन की।
ठीक है,
अब सवेरा सवेरा उठे हुए आज। हाँ जी व्यूअर, एयरपोर्ट पर पहुँचिए हैं, टर्मिनल 2। तो बस हो गया ट्रालियाँ आने वास्ता मतलब सच पता नहीं कहीं जाना साड़ा क्या लगा। चलो ये नहीं है। एयरपोर्ट सही बिजी है क्योंकि लोग वापस कमा पर जा रहे, छुट्टियाँ ख़त्म हो गई, इस वजह से ज़्यादा बिजी है। अच्छा पुलिस नहीं, पुलिस पता नहीं कब आएगी। जरा लगा अल्लाह सोने वाला है।
ओके,
हैव अ सेफ जर्नी। अल्लाह ताला खैरी में से पहुँचाए, अम्मी अब्बे ना मिलाए तो छतरों तक की गिनो। ठीक है जाओ,
अल्लाह हाफिज़, थैंक यू सो मच।
जाओ, अल्लाह सोने वाला है। अपने अपने खड़े हैं ट्राली तोड़। जाओ जी। आज ना बाहर ना व्यू जनाब, खरी धुप चढ़ी हुई, चाड़ को नहीं दसने पर देने बस आज नहीं तकना, इतना डाडा लगना हुआ। यानी आज चंगी धुप चढ़ी हुई। टाइम हो गया जनाब 12:30। आज है जुम्मतुल मुबारक यानी फ्राइडे। सही साफ़ सुथरा मौसम है आज। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम व्यूअर्स, क्या हालत सुना? ठीक ठाक हो? उम्मीद करना है कि ठीक ठाक हो सो तो अल्लाह पाक ने हिफ्ज़ ईमान चो सो। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं भी ठीक ठाक हाँ, खैर ही मेरी हाँ तकने सो तैयार होया वहाँ। अज जुम्मा है जनाब, जुम्मे वास्ते तैयार हो गया, कपड़े शपड़े लाई गंदे अब्बे रंगी डीकना वज़ू करने पे फिर जाने जुम्मा पढ़ने का। अज सही जुम्मे ना व्यू करा सा तो बाकी जो जाए आओ भी सही दसा इंशाअल्लाह। तो अच्छा जुला जुम्मा पढ़ने वास्ते, पर जुम्मा पढ़ने वास्ते जुलने तो पहले सारे की आसा मैं प्लीज़ हमारा चैनल सब्सक्राइब करो। अगर कोई फिल्म चंगी लगा तो प्लीज़ लाइक शेयर भी कराया करो। तो हूँ अच्छो जुला जनाब जुम्मा पढ़ने वास्ते उत्था तकने कुन कुन आया हुआ तो कुन नहीं आया। अज सही धुप चढ़ी हुई ਟੈਂਪਰੇਚਰ जनाब अज 25 है यानी 25 तो 25 पर असी थोड़ी देर तो बाद ही 24 पर 23 पर ठीक सी पर फिलहाल 25 है तो अज तारीख होएगी ने 6 9वें महीने की 6 तारीख तो हूँ अगर तैयार हो
तैयार है
चलिए
अच्छा
चलो ये चंगा जी अस जुम्मा पढ़ी छा ये फ्रंट ना व्यू जनाब हाँ जी कई बार गड्डी कड्डी पार्क है ना अस्सलाम वालेकुम
आओ जी
गड्डी साफ करने हो
ठीक है
फिलहाल खाली डीसी है बाकी जो बंदे नहीं है वालेकुम सलाम क्या हाल है ठीक हो सेहत तबीयत
ठीक ठाक हमारे कज़न को नहीं तक क्या
कोई नहीं तक क्या जनाब सुनाओ सेहत तबीयत अबू बादशाह आ गया जनाब
استفاد استخلاص Yes. Hafiz. Yeah. I'm all right. You okay?
Yes, I will sort it. Yes, don't worry. Inshallah. You tell when you want me to come, I will come.
वालेकुम सलाम
अब तो नहीं बुजुर्ग
लगे छे पीछे
हाँ
और सुनाओ ठीक हो दूर बैठे हुए हो
ना बाहर से हूँ फिर मैं आया हूँ तो बड़े मजे ले आया
अल्लाह अल्लाह
وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد Standard. When they want to measure something, they have a standard. And our societies, our cultures also have their own standards. Now there's a word that we use in Urdu to portray somebody as practicing. And in Arabic it's mutadayyin. In Urdu it's deendar. This comes from the word deen. So when we say somebody is deendar, we are simply saying that that person is somebody who is adhering and practicing upon the deen. And when we say somebody is mutadayyin in Arabic, it means similarly that person is somebody who's adhering to ad-deen, the deen. Now, normally when we call somebody deendar, we are saying it by our cultural, social norms and standards. Our norms, our standards, our cultures can be wrong, but the standard of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam cannot be wrong. And you know, when it comes to defining things, giving definitions, giving ta'rifat, the ta'rif of something, the definition of something, it's a very difficult task. Ask anybody who's in the field, they'll tell you that it's a very difficult task. The easier the task becomes, the less words you get, the more difficult the task becomes. If I said, can you explain to me what X is, and then you can only do it in one word, very difficult. If I say 10 words, it'll become easier. If I say 20 words you can use, it'll become even easier. But to define one thing within one word is from the kamalat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He prays 5 times. Yeah, that's our conceptualization, our tasawwur of what deen is. But ibadat, yeah, ibadah is only one branch of the deen. If one branch has been secured, we won't say that the entirety of the deen has been secured. So many of us have a very limited perception of what deen is. Now Rasulullah ﷺ in the Sahih hadith, he mentions the ad-deenu an-nasiha. Very simple hadith, very easy hadith to memorize. Everybody can memorize it before they go away from here today. 2 words, simply. Ad-deenu an-nasihatu. Deen is nasiha. Now what does nasiha mean? Nasiha in Urdu has a different meaning, and nasiha in Arabic has a different meaning. Nasihat in Urdu has the meaning of giving advice, giving good counsel. But nasiha in Arabic is a lot more vast. It's much broader. The word nasiha comes from nasah al-asal. When honey is very pure, it's not got any additives, it's not got any additional things that will impair the quality of the honey, and that's when they say in Arabic, nasah al-asal. This honey is absolutely 100% pure. Similarly, when somebody wants extremely well for you, like your parents, naturally they are your biggest well-wishers. They want the best for you. In Urdu, for well-wishing, they say khair khai. Okay, the translation of this hadith typically in Urdu books as well is khair khai. In English it's wishing well or well wishing. But even these are deficient for the meaning of nasiha. So nasiha is wishing well for who? Now naturally you think that wishing well for who though? Wanting good for who though? That's deen according to the standard of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sahaba were the Sahaba. They were the best of students and they left no stone unturned. With regards to seeking knowledge, they were the best of students and they had the best of teachers sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ad-deen nasiha," deen is wishing well, is nasiha. They said, "Liman?" Qulna liman. Tamim al-Dari, the narrator of this hadith, says, we said, "Ya Rasulullah, liman?" For who? Wishing well, but for who? For ourselves, for who? So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Lillahi wali kitabihi wali rasulihi wali a'immatil muslimina wa 'ammatihim." Five categories. First of all, wishing well for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wishing well for His book, wishing well for His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wishing well for the leaders of the believers as well as the general common believers as well. Now let's break down this hadith. First of all, how can we wish well for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when Allah is Rabbul Alameen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ala kulli shay'in qadir. He is the one who is all powerful. How can we make a difference to Him, benefit Him by wishing well for Him? It raises the question. So the fuqaha, the ulama, the shurrah al-hadith, the commentators of the hadith mention, this means by obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands and staying away from His nawahi, from His prohibitions. The things He says do, we do them without question. And the things He says don't do, then we don't do them without question. And this is khair khai and nasiha and wishing well for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the only way. This is a figure of speech and it's used. In one hadith Qudsi mentions, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to a person on the day of judgment that, "Oh my slave, I was sick and you didn't come to visit me." And he will say, "Oh, Ya Rabb, how can I visit you when you are Rabbul Alameen? How can you be sick?" And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reply that my slave was sick and you didn't go to visit him. If you had visited him, it would have been like you are visiting me. So this is a figure of speech. This is tamtheel, this is majaz, metaphors, whatever you want to call them. This is to explain a thing that your brother and your sister has a right upon you. In our society, they may look the part, they may dress the part, they may pray the part as well. But with regards to fulfilling the needs and the rights of the Muslim brothers and sisters, they are neglectful. They fall short. And they don't consider that part of the deen. That's the problem. When Allah's Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam replied with what deen is, He said, "An-nasiha," wishing well. Is wishing well for yourself mentioned there? No. It's not mentioned there. Why? Because everybody naturally wants well for themselves. You don't need to be told to do that. Everybody naturally wants that. But you need to be told His rectification is the rectification of the whole ummah. If the father sorts himself out, the whole entirety of the family will sort itself out. Similarly, once the leader sorts himself out and sets his affairs in order, naturally everybody under him, the subordinates, will also set their affairs in order. Coming on to the last part of the hadith now, and for the general believers. Now think about it. It's been how long now? Nearly coming on to 11-12 months of the recent intensification of the onslaught, the genocide you could say in Gaza, our brothers and sisters. And unfortunately many brothers and sisters have become normalized to it. The believer does not normalize tyranny and dhulm. The believer cannot never normalize it. In one hadith the Prophet ﷺ says, "Man ra'a minkum munkara," whoever sees evil from you, he should stop it with his hand. And if he is not able to do so, فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ, and if he is not able to do so with his hand, then with his tongue, by speaking out against it, by calling wrong wrong. Even that is a task in itself nowadays. By calling wrong and calling right. It comes in another narration that at the end of times there will be a time where munkar will become ma'roof and ma'roof will become munkar. Right will become wrong in society and wrong will become right in society. Now think about it. Everybody needs to assess their own situation. Now what I want to emphasize in this hadith, that wishing well for your brothers and sisters, this is the place where we neglect most. Whether it's the brothers and sisters living with our communities, whether it's our neighbors, whatever it may be, whether it's our brothers and sisters, the Madlumeen in Gaza, in Palestine, in Kashmir, in Burma, all of these places where there's Madlumeen, in East Turkmenistan, in China, all of the Madlumeen, if we go to sleep on a daily basis without feeling any pain, then that means that we detach from the ummah. How? The Sahih narration of Sahih Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ says, Al-Muslimuna ka-rajulin wahid. Look at the beautiful metaphors and the examples that Rasulullah ﷺ uses. He says, Al-Muslimuna ka-rajulin wahid. That the believers are like one body, like one man. إن اشتكى عينه اشتكى كله وإن اشتكى رأسه اشتكى كله. That if the eye is in pain, the entirety of the body cannot find ease and rest. And if the head is in pain, then the entire body is not going to sleep that night. I'm paraphrasing, Rasulullah ﷺ didn't say that, but I'm trying to explain that if one part of your body is in pain, you think, you know what, I'm going to have a sleepless night. The other part of the body could say, what did we do wrong? You get me? Why are we suffering because of you? They could say to the hand that's hurting. But the believers are supposed to be like this. That if one part of the ummah is in an affliction, then we all feel the pain. Now think about it. Everybody should ask themselves that just due to the long period of time, have these things become normalized? Have we gone back to not boycotting? Have we gone back to these normal practices that we would before the intensification? Or have we actually made any lasting changes? Have we changed actually parts of our life when we actually spend time doing dua for these people, the Madlumeen, our brothers and sisters, or make dua for our neighbors, or the local people in the community who are suffering as well, or do any action that's lasting? Or is our deen just linked to the masjid? Is it linked to the ibadah or the musalla or the janamaz? Now, we need to ask ourselves the question: are we truly deendar if we consider ourselves deendar? Are we deendar according to the social norms today? Or are we deendar according to Rasulullah standards? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. What is right 50 years ago has become wrong today, and vice versa. Many practices they were 50 years ago, even in this country, in a so-called secular country, which are totally normal and actually promoted nowadays. I don't need to explicitly mention them. It's quite obvious. Everybody has a past. Everybody has done sin. وَمَنْ لِلْحُسْنَى فَقَطْ وَمَنْ لَهُ الْحُسْنَى فَقَطْ. And who is there out there who only has good deeds? Nobody. This is why Fudayl bin Iyad, who used to be a notorious highway robber in his time, in the time of the Tabi'een, known to be a notorious highway robber, to the extent when people would hear the name of Fudayl, they would tremble. They would tremble out of fear. They would say, don't travel down this path because Fudayl is going to ransack our caravan. This same person, when he changed and became one of the greatest muhaddithin and abids of his time, still he used to have so-called panic attacks. When he was teaching his students, they would gather around him at Masjid al-Nabawi and other places, and they would listen to hadith from him, the blessed words of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After they would depart from him, he would start talking to himself. And look at this self-reflection. This is the sign of a true person, a true salik, a person who's truly on the path to self-rectification. He says things to himself that are not easy to say. Fudayl bin Iyad, one of the greatest muhaddithin of the time, greatest hadith scholars of the time, he would say to him, "Oh Fudayl, what do you think you are? Do you think that these people, these students who come around you, do you think if they truly knew your past, they would come to you? No, definitely not. Who are you trying to fear? Who are you trying to fool? Sorry. Do you not fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do you not fear that you're going to have to stand in front of Him tomorrow?" Understanding this is what we need to focus on, our brothers. That understanding this, do not limit your deen, your conceptualization, your tasawwur of deen to just on the musalla, to just in the masjid. Because we're not supposed to be part-time Muslims. You know, this is the secular agenda, that the separation of religion and state. The Muslim is not like this. The Muslim is not only a Muslim when he's in the masjid or when he's on the musalla, when he's praying salah. The Muslim is a Muslim and he has the empathy, that dard-e-dil, he has all of the time. That pain itself is an ibadah. It comes in one hadith. ما يصيب المسلم من هم ولا حزن ولا جزع إلى آخر الحديث إلا كفر الله به من خطاياه. That no pain or affliction befalls a believer, even if that may be mental pain, anxiety, these sorts of stresses, even a thorn if it pricks him, even a thorn if it comes and pricks him, a minor pain, إِلَّا كَفَّرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ مِنْ خَطَايَهُ, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive some of his sins. Think about it, how easy is our deen. Just if we start thinking actively about these things, just if we start becoming conscious of these things, and so many more empathy and that dard for your Muslim brothers and sisters, madlumeen, or even in this country, if they're suffering, make that part of your deen as well. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.
आमीन। जल्दी आई गया सब थोड़ा जा
जल्दी अंदर हो गए सब।
हाँ और सुनाओ सेहत भी है ठीक ठाक बाबा लगे
बाबे ने कवर कर
और तो क्या करें पापा आए हुए जुम्मा पढ़ने माशाल्लाह पापा पढ़ा भी आया हुआ जुम्मा पढ़ने पे पापा मुलाकात हुई है इधर एक पापा साला खाता हुआ पापा रज़ाक ठीक है मिलने हैं ब्रेक के बाद इंशाल्लाह बिस्मिल्लाह। ब्रदर क्या हाल है ठीक हो वही क्या लॉन करना है आज ना संडे कबड्डी है ने पता नहीं केतली ब्रेडफोर्ड और उथे है कल मैनू मैसेज आया सी एक बंदे ना
जुम्मा मुबारक सारे जुम्मा मुबारक सारे
जी खैर मुबारक सारे हाँ जी व्यूअर जुम्मा पढ़ी था सारे के मिली गिली तो निकली आए अज सो एक और गल बांके इस तो बाद एक और व्लॉग भी माड़ा अच्छी सी ये तो कल नहीं फिल्म है थोड़ी जी तो अज नहीं मिलाई तो बनासा एक अज मिलाद है इंशाल्लाह मिलाद पर जासा ग्रेट हार्वर्ड ब्लैकबर्न उत्थे भी फिल्म बन सी इंशाल्लाह ज़रूर शेयर कर साना बड़ा मिलाद है गड्डी को पहुँचे हैं जी बिस्मिल्लाह रहमान रहीम। हाँ जी व्यूअर जुम्मा पढ़ी था आई गया वापस हाँ जी
क्या हाल है पहुंची आयो
मैं तो पहले पहुँची आया अस्सलाम वालेकुम जुम्मा मुबारक ठीक हो सेहत बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। हाँ जी व्यूअर जुम्मे का नाश्ता विद पराठा अंडा तो गोश्त नाश्ता करने तो अच्छो ये तो मैं तो नाश्ता करन गया ने जुम्मा पढ़ी है हूँ नाश्ता करन गया उधर उधर सामी लाया मच्छियाँ भोरना पाया कौन अज कोई शिकार होया खास दो ही लपड़ियाँ। हाँ जी व्यूअर नाश्ता गया हो जी एक पराठा पूरा खादा एक अद्धा वाफर चाह तक तैयारी होनी कुछ मिलाद नहीं
नहीं लगा हुआ
शेदू नहीं लगा हुआ। हाँ जी व्यूअर स्कूल छुट्टी ना टाइम होना पाया जुल्लियाँ निक्कियां खिंचाने वास्ते उन्हें खिंचाइए ना फिर मिलाद नहीं मैं तैयारी कर सा। हाँ जी आई गए हो वाह कीड़े सुन डिठा बार गर्मी हुई भी टैंपरेचर तक किसी 27 पर गया वा अज काफ़ी गर्मी आई है पीछे आप बजा पर लगे इसने उन्होंने रात दे लिया। हाँ जी वीवर निकल के चाहिए ना और खोली गए हाँ गर्मी है
जी
हाँ ला कपड़े शपड़े चेंज करना टी शर्ट पजामा लगे